Thank you for tuning in to Uncommon Women. I'm Shanira.
I'm Kate.
And I'm Jenny Lee.
So today we're going to be focusing on relationships. It's actually a 2-part episode. There's so much information in regards to relationships, but today we're just going to focus on 3 main keys, which is going to be relationships with family, friends, and spouses. So one thing I think is important about family is to start off is basically you have to honor your parents, Sometimes families are set in their ways and they don't realize, what they say or do can affect us as women, but we still have to honor them. In order to bring yourself peace, you have to also forgive them as well. Bless them and pray for them, and that will give you, peace in your life, and it will bring a healthy relationship with your family.
So our parents did the best that they could, and our family did the best that they could at the time that they knew how. And where they fall short with your siblings or your parents, you just got to release that unforgiveness. Gary Brown says the real problem here is that resentment can build up over time, and it's like rust. It never sleeps. It just silently eats away at your relationship. That can be any kind of relationship, but the one that's always most important at the core is your parents, the people who have raised you when you were so vulnerable and little and put you in the environment and helped shape the identity of who you are today. The Urban Dictionary defines family as a group of people, usually of the same blood, but it doesn't have to be, who generally love, trust, care about, and look out for each one. Real family is a bondage that cannot be broken by any means.
Yes, as for siblings, no relationship is perfect through the conflicts. There will always be strong bonds between siblings, because I know I come from a big family myself. So yes, we have fights, we have arguments, everything gets conflicted. We sit there and talk about each other. But when it's them times where we can actually still run to each other when we actually need each other, and we still have them bonds even through all the conflict. And like I said, no relationship is perfect, but when you have your blood siblings and people that you considered as a sibling, it can be related or not related.
That's good. And for those that actually have siblings, building a relationship with your siblings are very great ways to guide them. For older siblings, it's an easier way for you to be a role model for the young ones, and they look up to you. It may be easier for them to come to you instead of talking to the parents. And I personally am a youngest child of 3, but I've seen in some of my relationships with friends for middle children, they feel as though that they're lacking that relationship because they aren't able to talk to their parents, and that they feel as though that they're not valued because they're in the middle, they're not the youngest or the oldest, or they're not getting the attention that the other 2 siblings are getting. So as for a middle child, they can be a leader. They can be a leader and find their identity and who they are as a person, and actually lead their youngest sibling and also their oldest sibling if they're not leading as a role model.
Role modeling is really important. I think as a middle child, I really looked into my brother to see what he did and what he could get away with. And my sister is watching me. My sister's the one who's stealing the clothes out of my closet. But what I like to hop on is, what if you don't have that? Today's society is so diverse. We have conventional families and unconventional families. The nuclear family, which is mom, dad, biological children, all in one house, is basically an endangered species. It's just not the norm anymore. I mean, we're sitting at a table here with 3 ladies who run a household by themselves, single parents. So the dynamic of what a family has to us is different. Family to you is different. It has many different meanings depending on the person who's defining what family is. The definition is influenced by economic, cultural, social, and other facets. But what is at the core and what is common is that people who call each other family are making it clear that these people are important in some way to that person calling them that family. They share goals, they share values, they're long-term committed to each other. Sometimes they can live together. People who says, oh, they're my fam. It's a title that's given to those who we hold dearly in our heart, individuals that have special meaning. And sometimes if we're lacking it in a family, we look to our friends to replace and enhance the family structure, typically with friends that we have similar interests with. Lilo and Stitch quotes this: Ohana means family. Family means nobody gets left behind or forgotten.
I do want to back bounce into what Katie was talking about being the only child. I feel that you have an advantage of being an only child. You can actually set an example for your cousins or for your family. You can actually build a bond with your parents. You can hear their stories about what they went through. If they have any siblings or growing up, you can actually learn from their mistakes as well. And I think that's a key point in building a relationship with your family as well.
And to also jump off of that, as me being an older child of 9 children, and also being the third child of, coming from my father's side, being the oldest is like, you have the most responsibility. And then me being the oldest and coming from 9, and the youngest one being my family is only 15 years old. So I've been through a lot. So me having, which I have lots of sisters, and I am the one that sits there and will sit there and, tell them, like, I've been through this, I've done that. I'm a little bit older than you and I have more experience. So when I talk about certain things, I know what I'm talking about if I've already been through it, But, the way this generation is, like, they think they know it all and they want to go about certain things. But me still being an older sister, I still encourage them, like, hey, this is, I'm always here. And I know, because I've been to certain situations, and if I'm telling you something, I'm telling you it because it's not to tell you, because everybody lives their lives how they want. But as me being a role model for my younger sisters, I do point out things like, hey, you can go about this way and you could do this, but at the end of the day, they're going to do what they want. So with me still trying to keep these relationships with my sisters or my brothers, let me also include them, it's just a little bit hard, especially when they're younger and, it comes out from one ear and out the other, honestly. So we just, like, that's how sometimes, the conflict and then trying to keep these relationships with our siblings, it can be hard at times.
I think, too, with your siblings, it changes over time. Like, the relationship I had with my brother and my sister when I was younger is not what's going on today. And I'm enjoying and really honoring and valuing spending time with my sister and spending time with my brother, and family dinners and holidays that come along, that I make it a point to spend time with them. Because now that you're older, you're balancing your busy life as an adult. So the dynamic of the relationship changes. And I think that happens in every type of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And I feel as though connection can keep a family together, and being able to communicate them when our lives get busy, especially when we are single parents and we have raising children, and you have your parents, if you do have both parents, they're still working and trying to take care of their responsibilities as their children are growing older.
I think it's a point, something we do in my family is Sunday dinner. So now that all the kids are out of the house, we make it a point to get together and eat and break bread and catch up, because to me it feels weird if a whole week goes by and I don't get to see my parents, and one day they're not going to be here. And so it's nice to, like, make time and have intentions to be connected with people I love that I used to reside in every day, seeing. It's being intentional.
Yeah, and checking up on your family to make sure that they're doing good, and just to showing that, that you love them. And being intentional with your relationship with your family, as well as your friends. So ladies, what do you look for in regards to a relationship with friends?
What I look for, they gotta show genuine interest. That is a big factor. How they take time to listen, to make me smile, to keep things positive, no judgment, nothing critical. kindness and respect. Also, you also have to have values and boundaries. Because as you get older, relationships change. Friends come and go. Some are blessings, some are in your life for a season. So that's just how it goes. And then not only that, you gotta honor the good friends you do have.
Yeah, and be like-minded. You do want to surround yourself with people that have the same goals that you do have. That's someone that's going to uplift you and be inspiring, because with friendship, you need trust. And in order to find trust in a friendship, you have to be able to be vulnerable. And you don't want to be vulnerable to people that is going to, gossip or run your business. And that comes with fear, It takes away the friendship that you have with people when you're fearful of being able to be vulnerable with them and tell them secrets because you feel as though they're going to run your business.
Trust is a big characteristic for me when it comes to friendship. If I'm being vulnerable and I'm sharing my heart with you, I'm sharing my life with you, I'm choosing to share a piece of me with you, and I'm expecting that I'm making a deposit and that you're going to be able to hold it in your vault, that you're not going to go and be able to run and gossip about me to somebody else, because that's really going to degrade who I am. And what is going to happen is I'm going to pull away from you and isolate myself, and I don't want that at all. I love friends. I love hanging out with people. I love investing in people, celebrating who you are, your accomplishments. And what happens is negative friendships, they take away from that. They erode your self-esteem. And I think as you get older, your time is limited, so your friendships become more quality and not so much quantity. So when I'm looking at a friend, the level that I put out in friendship, I'm asking for it back. I know I have friends who have had my back. They have really helped me and become more like family. And characteristics of a friend is that I can depend on you. You're reliable. You have integrity. You said you're going to commit, so you commit. Let your no's be no's and your yes be yes. If you're going to show up on a Friday night, don't text me 2 hours before and tell me your kid's sick, when I know that's an excuse you use every Friday. We try and hang out.
Yeah. Be a reliable friend, Be a reliable friend for your friends, as well as not being judgmental towards others. If you're a friend, you're going to have their backbone, and you're not going to be negative and be disrespectful to them. You're actually going to love them for who they are as a person. And you have to remove the negative friends that you have in your life, because it can plant seeds of anger and bitterness towards people. And it clouds your judgment of being able to trust others, trust women, trust anyone. So it puts you in a position or circumstances that you start isolating yourself from others, because you're in the fear. You have fear to be able to trust someone because you've been hurt by friends, by people you thought that was your friends, and they ended up not being your friends. So you have to definitely, be vulnerable to the people that you'll be able to trust them, and also choose your friends wisely.
Well, yeah, and I want to throw in the friend codes when it comes to friendships. Don't ever, 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 ever date a friend's ex, because that will definitely be one that's where the trust in that breaks. Never take sides in a breakup. If you're friends with the spouse and your friend, don't go back and forth and trying to gossip in between. That will also destroy friendship. Don't be cheap and calculative, because for the fact that when you guys go out together, it shouldn't be about money. If you have it, you have it. You don't, you don't. You can find other ways to spend time together. Don't be no drama queen. Definitely we don't want no drama queen.
For sure. Save the drama for your mama. Wait. No, not for your mama. Honor your mom.
Honor your mom and honor your friends, yo. We definitely do not want no drama queen. We don't want any issues tying with your friendship, you know. Communication is definitely a key with having a friendship and building a solid friendship. A couple things I found from Danny Silk that he talks about, just a few, in regards to communication. A passive communicator is someone that, you know, lies about how they're actually feeling. It's always about the other person versus how they're really feeling. And you have to be able to be open with your friend. You know, when you have that bond with your friend, you can be like, you know, that hurt me, or I'm feeling this way when you do this. And that's very important when you have a relationship and you're building a relationship with a friend. Another one of the communicators he talks about is an aggressive communicator. He talks about where it's not about how they feel. It's always about how you feel. And you don't want to be a selfish friend. You don't want everything to be about you. It's not always going to be about you. It's not always going to be your parade. You have to be a friend that be able to listen to their issues and have your own issues and be able to communicate with them. It goes both ways. It cannot always be about you. Don't be selfish. Don't be a selfish friend.
Friendships die due to lack of communication. I think not just friendships, relationships important. Communication is important, but don't be under the assumption that you don't hear from your friend, that they're not valuing you or doesn't want to spend time with you. You need to hold yourself accountable too. You need to reach out to your friend. And if you reach out multiple times to keep blowing you off, if you value that friendship, keep trying. But with lack of communication and sitting there with assumptions that your friend, if your friend wants to hang out with you, they would hit you up, it's going to die. Your friendships is going to die.
Also, let's also include, don't go MIA when you have a new love interest.
A new boo.
Hey, boo.
No, that is a no-no, because at the end of the day, when you're in that relationship, yes, everybody wants to be with their boo, because I would love to be with my boo, but I ain't got a boo. But anyways,
Hey, boo.
but what I'm trying to say is,
that
you know,
you?
I've been there and I've done that from experience myself, where I've been with someone and then I just isolate away from my friends and, you know, just certain relationships, period. But you can't allow yourself to do that, because when that relationship dies, your friends are always going to remain there no matter what. And even if you're in a relationship with your new boo, you should still be able to have that time with your friends as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. And speaking on your new boo, make sure you're not living your life like everyone else. You know, we live in a society where people are meeting someone and then within a week they go on a date. And then after they go on a date, within a couple of days, they're having sex. And after they have sex, within the next week, they're in love within less than a month. Like, are you really valuing who you are as a woman? Are you being uncommon? Or are you just living like everybody else and doing Netflix and chill?
Well, let's talk about what biologically happens to you when you fall in love. So there's a major hormone rush in the brain called oxytocin. They nicknamed it the love hormone. It's the brain's like opium system. Some scientists compare it to what drugs do. Love on the brain, it deepens feelings of attachment and makes couples feel closure. It's also the same hormone that is released in pregnancy and nursing when mothers are gaining an attachment with their infant. It provokes feelings of contentment, calmness, and security, but it also clouds your judgment. Sex releases estrogen and testosterone and dopamine, the pleasure hormone. And this all makes your brain really foggy.
Yeah, and when you have a foggy brain, it clouds your judgment of what you're looking for, your boundaries, and what you're going to accept and what you're not going to accept. And sometimes when you're in relationships, you get with people for temporary fixes. You know, like, oh, he's fine, or he got money, or he got a nice car. Like, do you really want to live your life like that? Do you really want to set your future based off of things that can change. That's not going to be able to be who the person is, and some of the issues that we have today is the reason why women do that is because they don't love themselves. They're looking for a person to be responsible for their happiness. And you cannot look for someone else to be responsible for your happiness. You have to find that before you get in a relationship. Because when you don't find that before you get in a relationship, you're going to be expecting them to be the person that you're looking for. And you can't nitpick something out of someone of what you're looking for, and then when you don't be fulfilled by what they're not giving you, you're going to be hurt. You're going to be hurt, and you're going to put yourself in a situation where you're not ready to be in a relationship.
What I hear from you is what I totally agree, Shanair, is wholeness. So you got to be content, know your identity, love yourself, know what you want, know what your purpose is before you even entertain Tinder or Christian Mingle or you're going on a date. Like, if you have that, Netflix and chill is not on your agenda. Like, a companionship of enjoying things together is where it grows out of, because you're whole. You know what you like, so then you find a friend who's whole also. They know what they like, and then you have things in common, and you're building a really good friendship, and out of that can spring a solid foundation of relationship into something more intimate.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, I agree as well, because you have to put time. You got to put time in getting to know a person. You can't get to know a person a month. It can take years, because we're gradually changing every day. People are working on themselves every day. I can meet someone today and I could be with this person 5 years from now and they really don't know me. We as humans, like I said, we work on ourselves every day till the day we die. So, like I said, just take time, get to know not yourself, but get to know this person where you can be content with each other, have the same goals in life, and just certain things that you both want to do for each other in life, period. That's just how it gotta be, because I want to be able to spend with someone I want to spend the rest of my life with someone that I know that not only has that is, when it comes to relationship, is also mentally, physically, emotionally, and in all aspects and everything. Because we don't have that, then how does a relationship work out? So
yeah, it's gonna fall. It's not a solid relationship. Build a relationship, a friendship with your spouse before anything. And I feel as though you also have to remind yourself that you're not in control. You're not in control of the other person. Mm-hmm. You can only be in control of yourself. Mm-hmm. And that goes with your choices as well. Think about what you're going to say if you have an issue in your relationship before you say it. Don't talk at them, but talk to them when you're having issues. Communication is an important deal breaker for a relationship. You got to be able to connect. You have to be able to connect with them by communicating, and remind yourself that men are not mind readers. So if something is bothering you, you need to speak to them about what's bothering you. And when I say speak to them, talk to them and make sure that they're understanding what's bothering you, because they're not mind readers. And when you speak to them with respect. Let them know that you have an issue and this is how I feel about what's bothering me. And then you wrap it up and letting them know, asking them if they understand what you're talking about. You don't want to come at them with aggressiveness, because it's going to go in one ear and out the other.
Shanair, I think you hopped on a topic that's so important in all relationships. When it comes to that intimate relationship that you're building with your spouse, communication is key. Danny Silk talks about using iMessages. And I find that everywhere. I feel this way. And puts down some walls, because as soon as you become offensive or you come accusing somebody, the other person's immediate reaction is to put a wall up and protect themselves. So when you come out and you say, actually Rick Warren talks about the first step you do in conflict resolution is to admit what you did wrong in the situation. The second part is how you felt about it. And I can know from my previous experience, communication broke my relationship with my son's father. We were so young and terrible communicators, and no one taught us how to communicate. And when I think about the way we resolved conflict is we would just talk about a topic and go around the mountain over and over and over and hash the situation. And I don't think that's a bad thing to do, but I think it's nice to address what went wrong, but what are we going to do about it, and how are we going to prevent it from happening again?
Yes, it takes two to make it work and work at it in a relationship. It really does, because relationships aren't always sunshines and rainbows.
Right.
You just can't give up.
No, you
Move
can't.
on to the next. Swipe left, swipe right. We're not living in this popcorn society where you can just change our underwear like we change our relationships. And
It takes courage, and you have to build. You have to build on your relationship. You know, when things aren't going right, you can't always be like, oh, well, someone else is going to be able to fulfill that.
you'll be searching forever.
Yeah, and you see that a lot nowadays, where they leave someone and they're quickly in the next relationship, and it's just like they're trying to find this love in the wrong place.
Because of the emptiness. Because of the emptiness that they have inside.
What do you think the difference is from previous generations who hold tight onto those long relationships, like my parents, your parents, or people you meet and they've been together since high school? What do you think they're doing that's different from how society is functioning today?
I think love has a lot to do with it, because not only that, they're there because they could separate anytime. They feel like it's an end. Like, for instance, my mother and my stepfather, they've been together since I was 7 years old, and they separated and gotten back together. Like I said, they have 8 children. Me and my brother are from from my father, and my stepfather raised us, and they've been in and out of relation. They've been in and out of the relationship that they both have together. They were together for so many years and got married, but it can either be they're used to each other, or they just don't want to leave each other because they're already up in age where, why start all over also?
I think it's more of value. Today we live in a society where people have side chicks and side dudes, and I think we didn't have that back in the day. They valued who they were as a women and men. These days that we live in, people are so quick to jump to the next because they don't value who they are as a person, and they don't care about anyone else but themselves. They're very selfish, and when you're selfish and you don't value yourself, you moving out of emotions. And when you're moving out of emotions, you're not building solid foundations and taking the time to get to know the person and taking the time to love. You gotta love. And if you don't love someone, first of all, you gotta love yourself. But if you don't love the person that you're with, you're going to fall for anything. And you're going to fall for a side chick, or you're going to fall for a side dude. And you should want more for yourself.
You just got to put the work in. Make the investment to get the return.
Well, I have a quote for that. I find the best way to love someone is not to change them, but instead help them reveal the greatest version of themselves. By Dr. Steve Maraboli.
That's good. That's good. I think relationships are meant to enhance. You're meant to be with somebody so you can enhance each other. You're not meant to be with each other to complete each other. It's to enjoy the other person.
That's good. That's good. And to actually jump back into Danny Silk, for those who actually don't know who Danny Silk is, he's actually an awesome leader and co-founder and president of Loving on Purpose. He has a ministry that helps families and communities. He's actually written 4 books. One of his top sellers are Keep Your Love On, so I highly recommend that book. But to go into some of the things that he has from Keep Your Love On, he speaks about core values of a healthy relationship. There's actually 7 pillars in regards to healthy relationship, but I'm just going to speak on just a few that I thought that was important in regards to this podcast. One of the pillars that he has is love, and love is very important when it comes to commitment. It's an action and a result. It basically shows that you care about the person and you value the person. And if you're not feeling safe or protected or understood in your relationship, it's probably not love. Another one I wanted to focus on that he talks about is self-control. You know, you have to remove the option of blaming others of your choices. You know, you have to take accountability for your relationship that you're in. Take a step back and actually make good decision making in regards to the relationship that you have for it to be solid. And the last one I want to focus on that he talks about of the 7 is truth. Truth is very important, and truth goes hand in hand with trust. You know, you have to be able to understand your spouse's decision, and y'all have to be on the same page. You have to be like-minded in order for your relationship to grow and mold and feel safe, you know. So before we close off, I do want to remind you to remember to be comfortable in who you are before getting in a relationship. I also wanted to quote something I found online. Michael Todd, he's an awesome pastor. He says, being single is not a punishment, and being in a relationship or married is not going to make you happy. So with that, you have to find happiness within yourself before you can find happiness with another relationship. So that wraps up part 1 of relationships. Be sure to join into part 2. We're actually going to jump into loving others. We're going to give some tools on how to communicate with relationships as well.
Yes, like, share, and comment on our Facebook page, Uncommon Women. We also have IG, Uncommon 3 Women, and also Twitter, Uncommon 3 Women. Like I said, like, share, and comment, and give us your thoughts.
So, ladies,
stay uncommon.